I'm saying interesting stuff that
No,
really
no, no, no,
rubs
no, no, no,
the spur
Grizzly.
the wrong way.
w- Did you get muted while you were talking?
Yeah,
What the hell, dude? I swear, dude. I'm not the one muting you.
whoever it is, yeah,
I mean, there's no
generally when people get
reason to
muted
mute
like that, it's
people like in this conversation, right? Like we're not like having a heated discussion or something. And
or maybe it was Teflon Don a mod because he could have muted me.
no, no,
Maybe it was
he's not
him.
a mod.
Don't worry, Grizzly. It empowered what you said because someone didn't want to hear you say it.
No, I kind of feel
Yeah,
like
because because
there's
it's
some
controversial.
mods. So just so you guys know, right? Like the mods are able to listen into the channels without having to actually be in the channel. So some of these mods, are obviously biased against Catholics or theists or, Christians in general, and they'll just like troll from the outside. But because they're not here in this channel, we can't record them, you know what I mean? So like in order for discipline, like there's no way for us to know like which mod does it anyways, right? So some of these mods like do this on purpose. Does that make sense? Now that they've been, vetted as a mod, they just kind of abuse their power.
It is what it is, bro. It's funny how they
Yeah.
do it to some people more than others. It just shows certain
There'll
things.
have
That's
to
all.
probably be uh, I don't know. I'm trying to say a second wipe or something to revet.
If you're a popular or effective right wing Christian, they try to come fuck with your room
Yeah.
in my opinion.
Yo, so you should check this debate out. And then Wesley showed up on Jimmy Dory's channel as well, like right after this.
Whose
I'll
channel?
post that as well. 1 second.
I just saw the clips from it where he was
Or
like,
Julian Dory, sorry.
"Do you mean Codex Sinaiticus?"
You mean Codex Sinaiticus?
Well, maybe it was the Gospel of Barnabas then. He's like, "Well, that's an obvious fraud, and here's why."
Yeah. Well, that's also a known forgery, and I'll show you how. It's like, I was like, all right, I'll take your word on that. Let's talk about the Old Testament. It's like, if we go to the
What
Gospel of,
pisses me off is like
all right,
this guy's making shitloads of money
yeah.
just teaching absolute nonsense. These people eat it up.
I mean, there's just a lot of like ex-Christians who are just kind of disaffected. You know what I mean? Like, you know, and I'm sure a lot of people, like they weren't they feel like because they weren't taught the right things in the right way, as they get older, they start questioning things, and then somebody offers like some other interpretation and claims that this is the truth of it all. Like, I mean, it's curious, right? I
Well,
mean,
that's the
I don't know.
problem.
I like
Do you,
conspiracy rabbit holes myself, so.
Oh,
what
me
do you
too.
expect every person what to accept Christianity and never to question it? Do you?
Right. That's what I'm saying. We shouldn't. Right. And so like, I mean, it's natural for people to like, you know, quote unquote, trust these type of people until they're proven wrong.
I'm a huge
Well, you should
conspiracy.
be able. You can't
Like,
prove anyone wrong, bro. You can only prove something right.
there's also a phenomenon of people just have a default assumption that
Yeah.
whatever the actual like historical fact or central thing is must be wrong. But what about cases where it's not,
Yeah, that's
like in church
presentism.
We
history?
can't tell the difference. You see, sir, we can't tell the difference because we just trust books now and trust consensus, and they could have lied to us.
No, you can actually like confirm some of this shit, but like people just assume
You
they'll
can't
believe anything
confirm
as
any
long as it's
historical
not
fact.
the mainstream narrative. But like in history, the mainstream narrative, especially like when it comes to like Bible manuscripts and shit like that, the church is right,
Yeah.
provably
Bro,
historically. But people assume that
bro, me and
that's wrong,
you,
so they believe in the Gospel of Barnabas.
bro,
Or the
me and
Gospel
you
of
cannot
Thomas,
go
yeah.
out right now and check any historical fact. Even the one that happened last weekend, we can't go and check, let alone what happened 100 years ago. There's nothing we
No,
can do
you
to
don't
check.
need
This is
to. I'm
on
saying
now.
like within the text itself, like this guy shows this textual critic. There's historical reasons like within the text that logically necessitate that this is a forgery.
Just telling you that anything any book says could have been some elaborate, either a hoax or a misunderstanding or just propaganda. We don't know which because we don't have access to those areas, those
No, that's
sites,
just
those
bias.
There's
You
way
have
to
to go to
there's
the
ways to
science.
analyze that. That's how we
Yeah, yeah.
know certain texts are not of the time period they're claimed to be from, etc. There's ways to figure that out in a lot of
No,
cases.
carbon dating, all of that is just an assumption
It's
that it's
not just
true, dude.
carbon
Talking about
All of
carbon
dating.
that,
dating.
It's the sourcing of the text.
all
Like,
of that. Dude, you understand history is not something you can record and
did
know.
you watch the debate? I mean, I posted it. Even like the relevant parts. Did you see how Wes Huff clarified what we actually know about both Codex Sinaiticus and Gospel of Barnabas and why uh, it's been determined that they're most likely, most probabilistically, a forgery. So you're right. There's no way for us to arrive at any sort of certainty about those things, but there's the way that we analyze it, right, through logic, reasoning, through, source criticism, is we can establish, various degrees of probability of whether or not, right, they are legitimate or historically reliable. To assume that what they were saying was true or had any sort of credibility. So if it
But
has a
unfortunately, for
low
your probability,
probability
dude,
of establishing credibility for the source, then
dude,
in all
for your
likelihood we
probability to
shouldn't
be,
assume that what it's saying is to be the case. And if we can
bro,
demonstrate other texts that are describing the same things or have different claims about similar topics or issues, and we can establish a higher probability for those particular texts, then
dude,
that's telling us is that we should go with those assumptions rather than the ones from
I'm
low
just saying it, bro.
probability.
Your probability calculations, in order for them to be accurate and meaningful in any way, to be worth their salt, you have to know the entirety of the system, right? So, for example, if we're having a
No,
game
you're
of chess,
assuming
we
that
have
we
to
need to know the whole of the
can I
system
finish my
in
point,
order to have
please, man? I
knowledge
didn't
of anything
interrupt
at all.
you.
Sir, let me ask you
Please,
this. Do
man.
you believe that the fact should
Can
conform
I
to the
finish my
belief
point,
or that the belief should
dude?
conform to the facts?
Is it possible I can finish my point? I didn't interrupt you, man. And you spoke for like 2 minutes. I just want to make my point. That's all. In order to have an accurate probability, you have to know the entirety of the system. You have to know it holistically. You can't just know a bit of it and inference the rest and then think your probability is going to be accurate. That's not how it works. A good example of that would be like a chess game. We could create two computers and play chess, and eventually, through enough iterations, we could work out the probability of this game going a win for white or a loss for black or whatever. Simply because we know the entirety of the system. There are 64 squares. Each piece can do this. Each one moves one move, and we can know the probability very accurately. But when it comes to history and reports and witness statements and all the complexity, all that probability gets smaller. It becomes meaningless when you calculate it. You understand? So when you say
Yeah, but
it's a higher probability, this text is reliable compared to that one. It's a meaningless probability because it could have just been otherwise, and someone forged it,
yeah,
changed it, paid
but some of
somebody
it's not
propagandist.
even probabilistic. It's just that we know when this text was written, this text quotes that text directly or copies from it. Therefore, we know that this text that's quoting from that text isn't what it's claimed to be, which is older than that other text. That's not probabilistic. That's just deductive logic. We know this text
It's
is
not
not
logic. So logically,
originate.
they could all be forgeries. Logically, it could all be an elaborate scheme to convince you of something that's not true. Big propaganda scheme. That's an option. So logically, there are many options,
Well,
not just those
that's what
two.
we're
What about
arguing,
when you
that it's more
find the text and date
parsimonious
them?
to establish historical reliability and then just go
The,
on that
the
than it is
dating
to assume
mechanism is
that
also an
everything is
inference.
fabricated.
The dating mechanism methodology is also an estimate. So it's a guess basically when they were written. You don't know accurately
Well, how do you know that statement uh, that you just said is true?
Because he's a universal skeptic.
because
He
because
doesn't.
because it's never been demonstrated to be true.
No, how do you know that that claim that you just made is true?
I'm waiting for your claim to be proven true that you can actually date these things correctly. You've never proven that it
Well,
can
no,
be
you're
done
just
correctly.
doubting it.
If anything,
Well, how
hold
do you
on.
know?
If anything, hold on. If anything, the contrary has been shown. So, for example, I can show you experiments where people, for example, have
That's great,
taken a
but you're
bit of
not answering
wood.
my question.
Hold on, hold on.
How do you
They've
know the
taken a bit of
the
wood.
claim that you just made about
Hold on.
we can't
Let
trust
me
any?
finish my point, man. Please,
Well, you're
please,
dodging my
man.
claim, man.
Let me finish my point. So when it
You're
comes to the
dodging the
dating
question.
mechanism, dude, please, I didn't interrupt you. Come on.
Stop
I didn't
acting
dodge your question with
obsequious,
a tangent.
Grizzly.
Just let me know when you're done, and
You
then I can
asked him to
okay.
clarify his claim, right? And then now you're saying, hey, you won't let me make my point. You're just gish galloping. Let him clarify his point. That's where we're at in the conversation. You're moving too
I
far
had a
ahead.
question that you're not answering. The question is, how do you know that the claim about dating is unreliable? Because you stated it as a
It's never
universal
been
knowledge claim.
because it's never been proven to be true.
That's what appeal to ignorance fallacy.
Yeah.
No, show me a proof that there's this document. It was actually produced 1,000 years ago, and it's actually proved that it's 1,000 years. Show me that. Where's the actual
Okay.
proof of that? That's
I can
possible.
write a document right now, and then in 5 years, like carbon date the document.
Okay, show me
Yeah,
evidence of that. That's
do you
not
know the
true.
problem with carbon dating?
It's not going to be accurate. It's just going to be an estimate.
Yeah, do you know
I
the
mean, this
problem
is
with
just like
carbon dating
extreme
is?
skepticism, but by that
Meanwhile,
same
what I was trying
standard,
to say, okay,
by that
can
same
I speak?
No, it's
standard,
I'll
not
let you. I'll let you
extreme
make your point.
skepticism.
So
People that carbon date
the
also
contrary has
provide you.
actually been shown. So people have taken wood, they fossilized it or carbonized it in some way, and when they've done the carbon dating, it's come out as like 20,000 years when really it's been adjusted by someone in a lab, and they've just made it age faster. So the reality is, it's not as accurate as you think. So
yeah, I understand it. But do you realize there's other types of dating?
all of them suffer from the same problem of assumptions, sir.
So you're saying
Do you
there's
get it?
no way to know anything for sure. Is what you're saying?
I'm telling you that when you calculate probabilities, they're not accurate, and you shouldn't take them as meaningful.
Okay, is there anything that you do know for sure that's capable for humans
I
to?
know for sure that when you tell me about probabilities, about the accuracy of your books, you shouldn't be so reliant on those
By what
probabilities because
principle
they're
do
not
you
actually
arrive at
accurate.
that true knowledge?
Because the claims they're making, the methodologies they're using are not discriminatory enough. They're not discriminating between a truth and a lie. For example, when I
Okay,
ask
look,
somebody
you're
to show me
repeating your
proof,
claim.
hold
I'm
on,
saying, how do we
let me
test
make
that?
hold on. Earlier, when I
How do we
asked
know that?
somebody, show me proof that the Red Sea was parted, they showed me photographs of carriage wheels on the bottom of the seabed, and they said, "Oh, the horses with carriages must have been passing. There's a wheel there, so that
Look,
proves that there was the splitting of the sea." This is the level of proof they're looking for. This is
that's
just
cool and all,
not
but you're
discriminatory
gish
enough.
galloping again. You're gish galloping. I'm saying you just made a universe. How do we arrive at that? How do I trust what you're saying is true,
I'm
or is
just
it
simply
just your
telling you the
opinion?
claims that Christianity makes have not been shown to be true. That's all.
No, I'm saying your claim about how we can't know anything.
I never said we can't know anything. I
But
said we can't
you seem
trust
to have knowledge about that.
dating methods which are based on assumptions. That's all. You should really listen to what I'm saying. Write it down. Dude.
What can we trust as far as like
And you
archaeology
can
and
trust
history,
your own
and how do
personal
we know that we
experience.
can?
You can trust your own personal experience. You can trust scientific method experimentation. You can trust
I thought you were saying
mathematical.
we can't trust
Let's
any of
say,
that.
sorry.
I thought you were saying we can't trust scientific dating methods and stuff.
You can trust the scientific method, but not just what anything the scientific consensus tells you. Scientific method
Yeah,
specific.
you understand that carbon dating does follow the scientific method, right? You understand that, correct?
I mean, I think there's some, flaws in the methodology of carbon dating, but there's other types of dating. One of which is
And
that
they all
we
suffer from the same
literally
flaws.
record years as years passes, and then
Wait,
we
why
can
do you let
add
him
them
run
up.
away from that? Wait, sorry, why do you let him run
All
away
those
from
other
that? You
mechanisms,
just
they all suffer from the
why did you
same
just let him run
flaws.
away
So
from that? Hold up. You just said using the scientific method would be a great way to derive truth, right? But also what you just said beforehand is carbon dating is unreliable, even though carbon dating uses the scientific method. So is there a certain criteria one must satisfy in order to be considered reliable in your view? If so, please
the
provide it.
scientific carbon dating does not use the scientific method. It uses assumptions. It doesn't use independent variable hypothesis method. It doesn't
But
use
so
that. It just uses
what are
assumptions
the
for carbon dating.
what are the 7 steps of the scientific method then?
So therefore, your
And
claim is
tell me if it
false.
doesn't
Admit
follow.
that. So therefore,
Okay, so
admit what you just said was false.
what are the 7 steps of the scientific method? If you don't know
Admit
them, I'll
that what
just
you
tell you
just said
them.
was false.
No, he's
If you don't know
correct.
them, I'll just tell you them. I'll just tell you
You
them if you
just
don't know
said
them. It's fine.
you just said that the scientific method is part of carbon dating. Yeah, it's not. Just admit that
Part of
I'm right.
carbon, no,
It is, dude.
they follow
Hold on,
it.
hold on. Do you
They
know the
follow it.
assumptions
They don't
that are
follow it.
used in
They don't.
carbon
They make
dating?
assumptions and jumps.
Grizzly, what assumption?
For example, they assume for example, with radiometric or carbon dating, they assume a particular molecule has a consistent rate of decay over
Right.
time.
Right. The
Right.
assumption
That's an
is the
assumption.
uniformity of nature, right? And
That's an assumption. Agreed?
all of
Do
the
you agree with an
scientific method.
assumption?
Hold on, I'm
Do
in
you
the middle of a
agree with an
sentence.
assumption?
I'm in the middle of a sentence. I'm in the middle of a sentence.
Oh, God.
All
I'm going to ask you again in a
of
minute.
the scientific method applies that assumption to all physics.
No, the
So
scientific
you
method
can't
doesn't allow
say
for assumptions.
we
You have to
trust the
show a cause
scientific
and effect
method, but
relationship.
when we don't want
The
it to fit our
scientific method asks
conspiracy
you to
theories,
show a
then we
cause and
throw
effect
out the
relationship.
principle. I'm sorry, I'm in the middle of a sentence. So you're just doing the special pleading for I want to throw it out this assumption of a uniform rate of decay, radioactive decay in this case because it helps me build my stupid fake theology or whatever, right? So you have to throw out all of science, all of physics has to go out the window if you don't keep the uniformity of nature assumption. To be
Yeah, look at that.
consistent.
Now we know
Correct?
who the coper is. Now we know who the coper was from earlier. It was you. Now we know. Fair enough.
Is that your
So
rebuttal?
the guy. So let me
Yeah,
speak now. Hush now. So the guy was saying that the carbon dating and all these other dating methods. Well, if you use assumptions, that's not a scientific method. Scientific method doesn't allow for assumptions. So I'm right. Admit that.
So what is the
The
scientific
assumption
method?
you
Please tell me.
cited applies to
I just
all
need you to
natural
admit
science.
that for now.
I
Just
need you
admit
to
it for
admit
now.
Yeah,
I
so
need
I
you
just want
to
you to tell
admit,
me.
Come on, hurry up.
Grizzly, stop running. I'm
Yeah,
gonna start
nothing will be
remuting you.
admitted until nothing will be
Come
Hold
on,
on,
admitted
dude.
admit
until
that
Dude,
I'm
he's
like
trying to
right.
okay,
dodge
okay.
me. Dude, do
Nothing,
not respond to him.
nothing.
He's
Admit
dodging.
that I'm
Dude,
right. Stop coping.
be quiet. He's trying to dodge me. I need you to admit that the assumption you cited about carbon dating applies to the entire field of the natural sciences. Correct? Can you admit that?
Yeah, we assume natural laws are consistent and stuff like that. Yeah, no problem.
Right. So that's just so you. So when you said that I trust the scientific method, you actually don't. So to be consistent, you have to throw out all of that because it's all
I
based
trust the
on assumption.
scientific method. I just don't trust assumptions in carbon dating, which are not part of the scientific method. You see, I'm right. Just admit it. Do it now.
Are you retarded? No, no. The assumption
You
you
are.
cited is assumed in the entire empirical method.
We
You
assume
just
that
admitted
physical
that,
laws
right?
don't change, sir. We assume that
The
physical laws
assumption is
don't
the
change. How
uniformity
certain?
of nature.
Can I
The
speak, sir?
assumption is
Come on,
the
don't be rude.
uniformity of
Come
nature,
on.
sir.
You're being
The
rude.
uniformity of nature over
Being
time,
rude
sir.
and
That's the
offensive.
assumption, which the
Being
entire
rude and
field of the
offensive.
empirical method is grounded upon. Correct?
You're being rude and offensive, sir. You're not admitting things you should admit.
No, look,
You're
I
not.
just caught you in a
That's
bad,
distraction.
in
Just answer
a
his question.
logical trap, and you're just being dodgy.
No,
now.
you're
You just
just not
want to miss the
understanding
trick.
that
You're
that
dodging.
carbon dating and such like methods are not reliable, sir. They're not
Well,
the scientific method.
I'm
You're just
gonna
wrong.
get you to show you. I'm gonna show you how you're dodging what I'm saying again. Okay, so it's the second time I'm gonna ask you. Now, the assumption which you cited, assuming the uniformity of nature over time, is assumed in all the natural sciences. You remember when you agreed?
Yeah. So what's the problem with that?
So you're you're saying that I actually trust science, except when it comes to carbon dating. But if you're to be consistent, you have to admit I don't trust
So
any science because I don't trust the assumption of the uniformity of nature over time.
Just because someone trusts the uniformity of nature doesn't mean they now have to trust every scientific methods of like dating things. Doesn't mean that.
No, that's the
Okay.
assumption that you're talking about that you don't trust.
So the reality is, I can trust the uniformity of nature, but if you just trust the carbon dating methods to be accurate, well, then you're being fallacious. You're just jumping in
Okay,
with the
so
crowd of consensus.
no, you're just special pleading. You're saying it's okay to trust the uniformity of nature over time, except in the instance of carbon dating where I don't trust it.
In the instance of carbon dating, it's basically a human theory as to how certain molecules develop over time. So it's completely assumptive, multiple
I'm not even that big on
layers.
carbon dating. I'm pointing out you're being inconsistent, man. You're saying
I'm
I
not being
don't
inconsistent. I'm just saying
trust that there's a
your dating
uniformity of.
methods are not necessarily accurate. I'm
You're
right.
saying I do trust that the laws of nature don't change over time, except for the case of carbon dating. Then I don't assume that.
But the point I'm making is that your dating methods are not necessarily accurate. I think I've proven my point
Yeah, you're
well.
dodging, dude. You're just dodging.
Well, I think you're projecting now.
No,
I mean,
you
to
just
be
have to
fair,
throw out all of the
Grizzly, you
science
haven't
that assumes the
substantiated
uniformity of
anything.
nature over time. If you're going to throw out that, you have to
It's
just
okay,
be
bro. It's
consistent.
okay to assume the uniformity of nature. It's okay, sir. Just calm down. It's okay.
Just be
But it's not good
consistent,
to
man.
assume.
Look,
It's not good to
I'm not
assume
even
that
that big on
molecules
carbon dating, but
decay
you're
the
just
same
being
over time.
totally inconsistent in your
Bro, it's
principles.
okay to assume universal nature. That's fine, but it's not okay to assume molecules decay over time the same way. It's not good to assume that.
That's the same thing, dude.
No, it's not the same thing.
It's assuming that the rate of the way that radioactive decay works doesn't magically change over time.
It's saying certain molecules break down the same over time. That's a bad assumption.
You're saying it's not safe to assume the laws of physics don't change.
No. Here's let me elaborate why it's a bad assumption, because I can show you how those molecules can be made to decay faster or slower if we add some other forces upon them. So I can show you how they don't have to decay at that rate; they can decay at another rate. You're
Okay,
just
well that
assuming
might
they
be
decay
true,
at
but
this
the way
rate for some reason. So
okay, I can
therefore, you
agree
see,
with
I'm right.
that.
I'm right.
I
Boom. That
can
was the
agree with
knockout.
that, but that's not how you were stating it.
It doesn't matter. I'm right though. That's the knockout. You're wrong. That's what matters.
I don't think you've ever been right about anything, probably, but
Well, about this, I'm right. You're just coping now. Your ego. Look,
well, you're trying to rescue your argument, but now you're making a different argument, which is
I have a winning argument. I don't
better.
need to rescue.
I agree. You're making
I
a
have a
better
winning
argument
argument, sir.
now.
Sir, I have a winning argument.
This
I'm
wasn't your
parked up
original
in
argument,
port,
was
sir.
it?
So I don't need rescuing. You're the one that out at sea needs rescuing. I'm in port, nicely tucked up with a bottle of champagne because I'm the winner of the argument.
Yeah, I'm sure that's true, and you're probably the smartest person that's ever lived. And all of your theories that
No,
are
I'm just the
unique
winner of
to
this
you
argument.
are
No, it's
correct.
okay.
Everyone else is wrong.
You don't have to pump me up too much. No, I'm just the winner of this argument. Your dating methods are not
If you need
accurate,
to
bro.
tell yourself that, man, I mean, this is kind of this plays into
Well,
your own pathology. This is
well,
why
I'm
you're
just
like,
right.
Yeah,
And for a
Grizzly,
Christian,
I
to be
do agree
jumping
with
on,
you that I do agree with you. C14 carbon dating is not reliable at all, but it does follow the scientific method. And I asked you 7 times, what are the 7 steps of the
it does
scientific
not.
method? You have to tell me. So there's 7 steps of the
The
scientific
scientific
method. Can you
method,
tell me these
the
7
scientific
steps?
method includes the entire concept of the scientific method is to show a cause and effect relationship between an independent variable and an
Mm-hmm.
independent variable. Okay, that's the whole
Yes,
point of
well,
it.
that's
You're
yeah,
not.
yeah. We
Hold
all
on,
know
let me
that. I'm
finish.
just
it's
asking
not.
you,
You can't prove
how do they do
causality at
that?
all.
Just let me finish my
That's
thought, man.
entirely false.
Stop. Do you know? Do you notice the dishonesty you're doing? You're not being honest because you're
It's
trying to
useless.
overtalk and
I
not let
already
me
know what
finish
you're
my
saying.
thought.
I'm asking you a
It
question.
doesn't
And you get
matter
to
if you
answer it.
know or
What are the
not.
7 steps?
Rude to
What are the 7
interrupt.
steps?
It's rude to interrupt. You see,
I don't really
you don't even
care.
have the
Like
social
I already
skills.
know about cause and effect. I'm asking you, how do we
You
know
don't
that?
even have the social
How do we
skills to have
determine
this
this?
conversation,
Through the
dude.
7 steps. I'm asking you that
You might
question, and
even
you have
let
to
me
tell me.
finish what I
You're
have to say. You
interrupting
don't have the
just as much.
social
No,
skills for this,
you're over talking
dude.
just as
You're not
much.
equipped for this.
No, stop
I'm
detracting
No,
from
every
the
literally
time he
argument.
talking.
responds,
You
Grizzly,
Stop
you
started me.
start
bumping
I
at
don't
freaking
care
him.
what
out.
you're gonna
Every
say.
time someone
I don't care if
disagrees
you
with you.
know.
Deal with the
I don't care if you
claims.
know.
No,
I'm
Grizzly,
not even
stop.
talking to you. Just hush.
Stop detracting. Just deal with the
It's just
claims.
ridiculous. Okay.
Just deal with the.
So the
Yeah,
You're
bottom line
if
is
you
they
predicting
can't
that
scientific method.
if you
Grizzly,
can't
stop
emotionally
talking.
handle this, then just
Can you let me finish my thought or not?
concede
You
from
want
the
just finish talking and
conversation.
let me
Okay.
finish. Go on. You finish
Obviously,
talking.
you
Go on.
can't say it, so I'll just type it out for you since you don't know what the 7 steps are.
So can I speak now without interruption, or are you gonna start
You
interrupting me?
interrupted him, Grizzly. He was
Stop
responding
acting
to you, and you started
obsequiously
screaming
He
like a
interrupted
crazy
me.
person.
So just let me know
No,
when I can speak.
you're not perceiving this. You're not perceiving this subjectively.
Cool. Just let me know when I can speak. Let me know.
I think this guy's too childish to have a real debate with.
Yeah, he's
Can
too
I speak now,
emotional.
or will
He's
I be
too.
interrupted?
No, you're just gonna
He's being way
scream when
too
people
emotional.
respond to
You
you.
see?
You're gonna
So
start
you're not
screaming.
saying anything between each other, but if I start speaking, you interrupt me. Yeah, shows. Yeah.
You're just
That's
a
just
retard, dude.
confirmation bias again. There's nothing. I mean,
Yeah,
you're
and now
basically
personal
the same as
insults
Billy
come out
Carson, sir.
because
You're holding the same
and
assumptions
you know
that
what I
Billy
find really
Carson does.
funny,
You're just
and what I find really
Grizzly,
funny is
stop
that
interrupting.
you see, now it interrupts me straight away. So it doesn't.
you don't claim to have a criterion of verification at all. That's not having a position, sir. You're just a universal skeptic.
So can I speak now without interruption?
No,
So
it's my turn
what
to
I
go.
find really interesting is
I said no.
how oh look, he's just not gonna let me speak at all now.
So
Just
the
shows who
principle
the
that's
loser
pointing out
is.
to you, the thing you said
Shows
the
who the loser
scientific
is.
method was absolutely false. Grizzly, please stop interrupting.
Yeah.
Was absolutely false. You don't prove causality with the scientific method. You don't understand the empirical method at all, which has been demonstrated, I think, several times. Of course, you have no idea what you're talking about, and you can't define your own principle for verification. And you violated your own
Well, every
principle
time
by
I start talking, I get interrupted because you're a loser. It's okay.
No,
You're
you
just getting
scream
emotional,
over other
sir.
people when they respond, and then you project that onto them because you have a
I was
psychological
about to
disorder.
talk, and you weren't even saying anything to each other because you people are losers.
Well, I mean, now you're
Yes,
just being
everyone's a
emotional,
loser
sir.
but you.
Are you
Yeah,
conceding the
and it's
argument?
funny how a bunch of Christians would rely on science all of a sudden when you reject a lot of science, don't you? You reject the Big
I'm
Bang,
not
don't you?
Christian.
You
Christians
reject
invented
I'm not
Genesis,
science,
don't
Christian,
you?
man.
but you're still
Yeah, you
The
retarded.
are.
I'm
Catholic
You
sorry.
Church
reject.
invented
Don't you as
science. What are you
Christians or
talking about?
what? Don't you
One
reject
second.
that as Christians or what?
Modern science was
What's
Do you
invented by the
reject the Big
Christian?
Christians.
Bang
What are you
and
talking about?
Genesis? Or do you accept
If
the
you're
Big
not a
Bang?
Christian, you can't speak on science authoritatively.
Wait, do you
Which is
accept the
why
Big Bang as
people
true
like
or
you,
not?
Grizzly, please stop screaming like a retard, please. Okay, people that aren't Christians have no claim to science, and you can't claim any, like as demonstrated, you don't even understand what science is. You don't understand the empirical method. You don't
So do you think
understand
the Big Bang is
induction. You
true as
don't
a
understand
Christian?
any of it because you're not a
Do you think
Christian.
the Big Bang is true as a Christian?
I mean,
So again, I
it's
had to
a
turn you
it's
down because
it's
you're
it's a
spinning over.
hypothesis at the end of the day.
Is it true though?
Well,
Is
it's a
what true?
hypothesis.
It's
So
or
it's
a
our
I
theory.
asked you if
yeah,
it's
it's our
true. I didn't
best
It's
ask. I didn't
reasonable to
answer.
it's
believe
You're not
our
that.
answering.
best
Look,
inference
you
given
wouldn't
the
need
evidence
you,
that we hold. I wouldn't call that a truth claim. It's just
Is
rather
what true?
a
oh, so therefore, the Big Bang is, you would say, is true or false?
no, it's a
It's
working
not.
it's
It's
a
not a
working
yes or no.
hypothesis based on facts.
Oh,
There are certain
all right.
facts
So
that
how
we know
accurate? What's the
about the physical
probability of it
world,
being
right?
true?
There's
What's the
certain
probability
facts
of it
that
being
we
accurate? The Big
know
Bang.
or that we claim to know about
Based
the
on the
physical world, and
information
we
that we
build a
have right now,
hypothesis.
the Big Bang is reasonable to believe in.
You're both wrong. It depends on what you mean by the Big
Proba-
Bang. Do we know
What's the
that the
probability?
universe is expanding? Yes,
We
we can
don't know the
observe that and
Wait,
do it.
Abismo.
probability.
No. Abismo was able to work out the probability of books being true going back thousands of years. So what's the probability of the Big Bang being true?
No,
It's
what I
100%
said was when
probability.
it comes to establishing historical reliability of like text or pretty much any interpretation or anything in history, it doesn't just have to be scriptural documents too, right? Like it actually be like documents from historical figures. The reliability of those texts are established based on a criterion of uh, probabilistic um, sourcing, right?
Right. So what's the probability of the Big Bang being true then?
So the fact that it is credible, right,
100%.
is established based on those criterion, and not just whether or not one believes it to be true or not.
Well, if this guy is saying it's 100% true, the Big Bang is true, well then wait a minute. The Big Bang doesn't require God, so then you're an atheist then.
Why are you keep gish galloping, sir? You're
Why do
just
you keep
moving back.
saying the Big
I'm
Bang
just
doesn't
showing you.
require
I'm
Moving back
showing
and
God?
you how
forth between
inconsistent you are.
two
Because
different
on
sets
one
of
level you
arguments. No,
accept science, and on
excuse me,
another
sir.
level
You're
you
the one
reject
that's
it.
being
You're very
inconsistent.
inconsistent.
You're
No,
gish
we just
galloping.
accept good science, not retarded pseudoscience that you
Well, how do you
present.
know the
You don't
difference?
even
How do
understand
you know the
scientific
difference?
principle.
How do you know the difference between good science and bad science, sir?
Because I actually have taken philosophy of science, so I understand what it is and how it works, and you don't.
Just tell us. So how do we tell the difference between good science and bad science? Tell us.
Not by
Well,
being
like
emotional.
we're trying to
Or
demonstrate, you keep making these like
you have
knowledge
to use
claims about
logic
the
instead of emotions, emotional
So tell us.
appeals.
irreliability of. Well, hold on, somebody was talking through me. Okay, so we were
Come
trying
on,
to
tell us.
demonstrate the logical principles of knowledge and how induction works to you, and you were violating your own principle. That would be an example of bad science.
So is the Big Bang theory, is that good science or bad science?
I think it's good science.
And what about the theory of abiogenesis? Good science or bad science?
Bad science.
Okay, why is one good, one bad?
Well,
According
the
to
Big
what?
Bang we've seen empirical evidence of it. We can observe the background radiation. We can observe the expansion of stars further from each other. Whereas abiogenesis, there's no way to observe that.
Well, wasn't
That's
there an
totally like
experiment that showed that? Wasn't
No,
there
the
an
furthest
experiment?
they
Some
got
guy.
is
no, there
they
wasn't.
were able to in a controlled environment, and it doesn't, and the controlled environment it does not reflect our current atmospheric conditions. The furthest that they've been able to get was genetically creating amino acid, which is not a protein chain. So there's a lot of
So, but
steps,
eventually, if you
right?
did it enough, wait. But
There's a
if you
lot of
kept it
steps.
going, wait.
So you can find amino acids within comets,
Hold on.
right? There are amino acids that have been, examined
I
from like
understand, but
meteors basically that have made it through the atmosphere even.
right,
But
but hold on. But then you
there's a
just.
long chemical step, right? From going from amino acid to complex
I
molecules.
understand that. The same way as there's a long step from going from the Big Bang all the way to Earth. So you just repeat the steps, just
Excuse
like
me,
with
sir,
evolution and the
proportionally,
Big
these are
Bang.
not the
You just
same
repeat the
causal
steps
chain.
and you just
The
inference
chain of
forward.
custody is not the same between Big Bang and how we get Earth and
No,
how
I'm
we
just
go
saying the
from
same.
rocks to complex molecules.
I'm
It's not
saying
the
the
same.
same science is
Excuse
being
me, sir.
applied.
No,
It's
you are
hold on, Grizzly. You don't
you are being
understand.
No, wait,
vastly.
the
In
same
it,
rationale is being applied. If it works on a
Grizzly.
small scale, if you just
Stop,
repeat that a
Grizzly.
thousand times, we'll get to the more
Hold
complex.
on.
You see?
It's way more likely to go from the Big Bang to Earth than like from like dirt to complex organism.
Well, why is it more
It
likely? According to what?
there
Look,
was
there's
a
another.
scientist that said
There's a whole other problem with that experiment too, because what that experiment proves is that intelligent beings can arrange conditions to create amino acids. So that would be evidence more towards like a, creationist intelligent design argument. But they're so stupid they don't realize that.
Yeah, so the point is, how do you know bad science from good science when all of this science uses the same methodology?
It doesn't.
It does, because the inference is forward. Like, for example, with evolution, they say, look, here's a little bit of adaptation. So if we just multiply that 1 billion times, we'll be able to get alligators from amoebas, right? So same thing with abiogenesis. Long enough bouncing of molecules, we'll get life out of rocks.
Again,
Same
so
thing.
that is an unsubstantiated conclusion as far as we were able to demonstrate.
Well, this guy accepts the Big Bang, but he
No,
denies
but the
abiogenesis,
question
and they both use
was,
the
right,
same
can you
rationale.
demonstrate it?
No, they
And the
don't use the
answer
same
is no.
rationale.
They use this.
It's
I
not
just
observable.
demonstrated to you how they use
Sir,
the same
you're
rationale.
making a
I
conclusion
No, you
based
didn't.
on
No, you didn't.
unobservable facts. Unobservable facts.
I
That's
just
showing they
demonstrated
exist.
it to you in terms of how they inference
No, you're
forward
just
based
talking.
upon some
You're just
small effect.
you're just making random word
I
salad.
literally
No,
just demonstrated it
dude.
to you. Now you're being dishonest. Fair enough.
You're just
No,
making
you're being
circular
Coping,
dishonest.
boys.
arguments.
One is
Just
You're
keep
just
coping
appealing
out
to
here.
your own
observable.
ideological prejudice, sir.
One is
That is not a
observable, and the
logical
other one's
argument.
not.
You're just coping, man.
Plus,
You just cherry pick
one of
science
these.
that to suit your fucking agenda.
The
That's all you do.
argument for abiogenesis, first of all, has a logical error in their thinking. Okay, so how would it demonstrate that natural forces can lead to life randomly when what the experiment is intelligent design? They don't even understand
Well,
their
the
own
same
experiment.
wait, the same logical
Wouldn't even
problem appears
reason
in the
by
Big Bang
inference to
too.
show
Wait, the same logical problem appears in the Big Bang, but you've
naturalism.
accepted that.
No, it doesn't.
So
Well,
part
how
of
does
the
it defend?
part of the premise of the abiogenesis experiment is that they had to quote unquote estimate, or they even had to hypothesize for the conditions that would have made this possible in the first place. Because the
Exactly. It's all
premise
just it's all
is that
conjecture. Yeah,
the
I know.
premise is founded upon that the current environmental or atmospheric conditions, right, would not be able to make this possible. So they had to fabricate or manipulate this.
It's all conjecture, bro.
No,
Bottom line.
it's premised like that. All he's pointing out, right, is that there are certain assumptions within the premise for even the experiment itself, and we can even grant that. And even if we do grant that, the furthest we've been able to demonstrate this, like factually, is the formation of amino acid. It's just basically what you have is just a soup of acidic goo, right? That's
Great.
not a
But the bottom
complex
line is this
organism.
dude over here, this Christian dude over here, accepts the Big Bang, but he denies abiogenesis, and the rationale for both is flawed. But he's not being consistent. You
No,
see,
they're not.
that's the
They're
problem
never.
with this guy's rationale.
Yeah, you're stupid. You keep making unsubstantiated
Now he's going to
claims that you
personally
can't argue
insult me.
for.
You see, because he's a fucking dumbass, man. You see, fatso.
Yeah,
So,
you are a moron. We agree.
well, if you're going to insult me, I'll say the truth about you.
I just showed you the difference between them, and you just keep repeating your
No, I
baseless
just showed you how
assumption.
you're wrong and how you're inconsistent and how your views are cherry picking everything for an
Well,
agenda.
no, you're the one that's
So
being
No,
inconsistent
you
because
didn't do that.
keep
You just
shifting the
think you did
goalposts
because you're
from one
stupid.
argument to the next.
that's exactly what I did, but you're too dumb to accept it. You got
Look,
your
if
ego's too
making
big.
claims was the same as demonstrating stuff, you'd be right about stuff. But all you do is make
Bro, your
claims. You don't
ego's too
demonstrate or
fucking
argue
big, bro.
for
It's like
any
an
of your
elephant,
claims.
bro. You got an elephant-sized ego, bro.
You can't even
Well,
justify
we'll
your own
teach you that
knowledge.
way.
How do you know anything?
And you have
How
a
do you
All right,
know
bro.
punitive
Life
anything,
will teach
brain,
you.
sir.
Grizzly? How do you know stuff? This is
Life is
what
the
you do
best
as soon
teacher,
as you
sir.
get called
It will
out.
crumble your ego, sir. Don't worry.
Teflon, for the love of God, please don't do a precept argument.
You're a moron.
Bro, life is going to crumble this guy's ego. Don't worry, dude. Like a cookie.
No, I'm just gonna show you he violates his
I love
own
cookies.
principle with the skepticism.
Me too, bro. And I also love crumbling
This is
egos.
what
I
I was
love
trying to get at with
I think
him.
my
to
bio
begin with.
still talks about cookies in my Discord bio. Yep, sure
Grizzly,
does.
you're like the crazy
whatever, dude. Just
guy
hush your mouth, bro. You were shown to be
who
wrong.
rambles to
Have some grace.
himself incoherently on the street
You were
corner.
shown to
Okay,
be
when people
wrong,
ask
so
you
have
stuff,
some
you
grace,
keep
for fuck's
rambling.
sake, man.
No, you weren't.
Learn to know when you're wrong. For
I know you're
fuck's sake.
scared, so you're trying to dodge. Right? You're trying to run.
You're an idiot, dude. You
I'm just
accept the
trying.
Big Bang,
I do.
but you
All it
deny
is a
abiogenesis.
consistency
You're
check,
like a
and you
cherry
failed
picker out
miserably.
here.
You violated
You're
your
a
own.
cherry picker
Grizzly,
out here,
stop
dude.
dodging. I'm just gonna server mute you if you can't be an
There you
adult.
go. You
Grizzly,
wait,
last
because you're a
chance to be an
cherry
adult,
picker.
sir.
You see, typical Christian approach, just
Wait, I
threaten
need
you. Innit?
mods
Grizzly,
in
you
here.
kind of sound like Mr.
Supreme, can
Batman.
you mod me up?
Yeah, just threaten the guy speaking the truth. Yeah, shut him down.
Teflon, you want me to mod you?
Yes, please.
Beg.
This is like Mr.
We get these crazy people in here. Sometimes you need mod powers. Like just like ramble incoherently.
Gaslight people, you see. It's
You
just
try to
the
talk
worst
to them and
kind
they're
of
like,
person ever.
I think can I?
This is the
If I'm a
problem
All
mod,
these
with boomer
Christians. Wait,
generation,
Bubba, have you
man.
noticed?
I was
Wait,
saying,
Bubba, have you noticed how
Misrepresent
these
our
Christians
doctrine.
are? Notice how they all gaslight. They all gaslight. They all do these snidey remarks. Notice.
Excuse me,
you
sir.
ducked out of the
You're appealing to
conversation to sit
emotional
there and
argument.
reaffirm yourself. So
You're the one that can't
you
accept the
started getting
fact, bro.
emotional and you ducked out of having a real debate.
Bubba,
You started
You
declaring
can't
yourself the
accept the
winner and
fact
being
that your
yourself.
hey,
path-obtaining methods are not reliable. You're the one
Grizzly
coping out
said
here.
Grizzly,
Christians got
stop, dude.
gaslight.
someone said my name.
You're coping. Stop coping. You stop pretending you're right. You're
Grizzly,
wrong.
you already dodged the conversation. Now shut the fuck up.
Did you say that we gaslight?
Yeah,
Instead
because
of
he's
debating,
constantly like
you
you're saying
started
wrong with me. There's nothing
reaffirming
wrong with him.
yourself and interrupting people. So you already
There's nothing wrong with
conceded the
you, bro.
debate, sir.
I'm still
Declaring
confident, bro.
yourself
I
the
know the
winner
difference between
is not
stupid
debatable.
and smart. Don't worry, dude. I ain't like you, bro. Dumbass.
Yo, Supreme, I need mods.
Yeah, of course you do, man. It's the only way you can get your way when you shut people up in it.
So when people do this, you treat them like the children that they are, and
The
you
reality is you're wrong.
I
I
duct tape
showed
their
you how
mouth.
you're wrong. But your ego's too big to understand it right now.
I turned you down, man,
Yes.
because you instead of engaging
Yeah,
in
man. Turn me
argumentation,
down,
you
yeah,
just
because you don't want
started
to hear
over
it. I know.
talking,
You're allergic to the truth. So you'll
prevaricating,
turn it down. Yeah, I know.
and then declaring yourself the victor, even though you
Yeah,
can't
man.
demonstrate any claims that you made.
Yeah, man. Take a sedative or something, man. Yeah, do that. Relax in it, bro. The truth will set you free, but not
It's like
today.
arguing with like crazy people at Walgreens. There's no point.
Yeah.
Grizzly, you do have to
I
like
agree with
respond
us
to like
crazy. Yeah. Yeah, I must be the crazy one. Yeah, even though you're wrong. And I
Yeah,
showed
get
you how
out of
you're
the
wrong.
candy aisle, sir. You have diabetes.
I showed him how he was wrong. If you want to cope with him and be his bum chum, go ahead.
Excuse me,
That's
I'm
sir.
gonna
Can you
have to
stop
ask you
being
to
a
leave the
burden on the
premises,
healthcare
sir.
system? Control your diabetes.
Yeah, support your bum chum. Yeah, do that. Go ahead.
Maybe if you stop, stuffing your face with C's candy, like the healthcare system wouldn't be so expensive.
Yeah, mate. Maybe if you stop getting vaccinated, you actually won't have retarded fucking brain cells.
We used to have institutions for people like Grizzly, but now we don't have any mental hospitals.
Bet.
So
I'm
they just
willing to bet
wander about and get on
$100.
Discord.
I'm willing to bet $100 you idiots are vaccinated. I'm willing to
Tell you
bet
about
that.
how the Earth is flat or whatever.
Are you vaccinated?
You
Tell
believe
me.
in flat Earth?
It doesn't matter, man. Who cares? Are you
Flat Earth,
vaccinated?
yeah.
If I'm crazy, why do you want to hear my crazy beliefs? Are you vaccinated?
I'm not vaccinated, no.
Why aren't you vaccinated? Science says it's good for you, man. Scientific method, everything.
Well,
Scientific
science
studies. What
doesn't
science?
actually say that.
What do you mean?
Not the
Scientific
real
studies
science.
say it's the best
science
thing. You
says
need to
it's
protect
been
yourself.
rough.
Science, baby. What's the problem here,
Yeah, but
dude?
there's corruption in science, man. There's
Oh,
the
I mean,
vaccine industry is corrupts the science. That's why I don't trust most medical science is bullshit.
Genesis theory.
But I
You
can
piece
actually
of
tell you
shit, you.
why it's bullshit. You can't. That's the difference.
Oh
If you
man,
want to know
honestly,
why it's
dude.
bullshit, I'll tell you.
Oh my god, man.
But you can't stop rambling like a crazy
What
person.
a
You have to have a
retard,
foundation.
man.
Can you like you think every conversation on Discord is talking more than the other person? That's what I'm saying. You're like a crazy person. When people are speaking, you just make noises so that you speak over them, so you can't have a conversation because you're a fucking
Theory. Yeah,
child.
no corruption.
Yeah,
Yeah,
see, you
no
just did it right
corruption,
there. You just did it
theory
right
or
there.
evolution or
When other
evolution. No,
people
no
talk, I
corruption
just make noises. I make noises when other people are talking.
There.
That's your strategy on Discord.
You see? No corruption.
Yeah, see, I'm turning you back
yeah.
down. You're not an adult. You can't have a rational back and forth. You just make noises when other people talk.
It's all
Yeah,
clean.
you're
You
not
can
an
believe
adult.
that.
You're just a boomer.
You can't believe vaccines. You can't believe that. It's different.
It's like every boomer on Discord is like the most childish people. Like
You retard, man.
Darth Dawkins, Grizzly.
Dumb,
The older they are, the more fucking immature they are. They can't hold a conversation.
Yeah, there's corruption there. What the fucking other shit you were saying, dumbass? No corruption there.
Dude, if you
Fucking
could shut up long
idiot.
enough, you could actually learn something and have a meaningful discussion, but you can't stop your fucking mouth. Like you just
Over
make
the
noises
fucking
every time somebody speaks.
month, man.
I was going to explain to you why
Over
the
the
medical
year.
science is corrupt and how it's corrupted, but you don't want to learn.
Yeah, but the Big Bang Theory isn't corrupted, eh? So it's clean as a whistle, eh? Fucking retard.
I'm not going to sit there and talk to someone who just makes noises intentionally when other people speak. Like
He's never
you're
going
a
to address
fucking
what I'm
child. You've
saying.
lost all
He's
respect. You
always
have no
going to
credibility.
avoid what I'm saying and pretend he's right. Look at this.
Why would I waste my time engaging with someone like you?
Yeah, eat your potato chips, fatso. Yeah, do
You
that.
just wait for other people to talk, and then you make noises to try to interrupt them. Like you're not. You're
Bullshit
barely
you say, it's never
sentient at
going to
this
be
point.
true, bro. Yeah, give up, man. There's corruption there.
I tried to have an adult conversation with you. You proved to be incapable of it. I'm moving along.
Science, picking up the scientific method and the carbon dating, but then vaccines are, man, that's corruption, bro. Can't trust that. What a fucking
Well, no, you're
retard.
scared to actually have a conversation because then you could be
I'm
proved
sorry, man, that's
wrong.
just
So
retarded.
you just
That is
talk
just,
and ramble so you can like
how can a human be that retarded? I
repeat
mean,
to yourself that you're right about shit. This is why you never learn anything.
yeah, man. Big Bang, man. That's scientifically proven, Grizzly. It's carbon dating. That's scientifically proven, Grizzly. But vaccines? Nah, that's corruption, man.
I was going to explain to you how the corruption in medical sciences
That's
works,
corruption,
and then
man.
you started rambling like a
Yeah,
crazy
that's
person.
corruption, man. I can explain
You're
it.
scared
I
of
can
other
explain
people
how
to
I can
talk.
explain the elaborate system and how I can sell that story down the road with that statement.
Supreme,
But
can you
yeah,
give me mods, bro? Like
yeah, man, to shut this
there's
Grizzly
like
up, man.
crazy
He's
people in
showing the
here
stupidity of
rambling.
my
It's
ways.
gonna destroy the room. Like
Shut
everybody's about
this
to leave.
down. Shut that guy down. He's showing how
Grizzly,
stupid I am.
I
Shut him
stopped
down.
listening to you because you just interrupt on purpose.
Grizzly's talking
I have you
nonsense.
down at 10%.
Yeah.
I just hear you as
In the
background.
meantime, I'm not going to get vaccinated because it's corrupt, but I'm going to believe everything they tell me about the Big Bang and carbon dating because I love my book and my B-Blane because it's been dated correctly. You are just such a cherry picker for your agenda, sir. You're a
Make that make
disgusting human
sense.
being.
Make that make
Disgusting
sense,
human
Grizzly.
being. Human trash. This guy is human trash, philosophically speaking, of course.
I
Make
could
it make
explain it to you, but I don't have
make it make
mods, and
sense,
I
bro.
can't
Make
You
it
mute you
can't
long
ban
enough to
him.
respond without you interrupting.
You cannot ban Grizzly.
I'm not
That's
going to
right.
ban him. I just need to mute him when I'm speaking so we can't interrupt.
Exactly.
Let's be able to
Locally
finish the
turn me
sentence.
down then, man. He can't.
I won't
He
ban
loves to
him.
hear what I have to say. It both burns him and nourishes
It's just
him.
these types of like when they get scared in a debate, they just start over talking the other
Yeah,
person on
I'm the one who's
purpose
scared. Yeah.
to try to like
Yeah,
disrupt
I'm
their
scared,
flow
man.
or whatever. People like
Yeah.
that have to be muted for the other person
Yeah,
to,
I'm scared one.
have a response to be able to finish the sentence.
Yeah, guys. Yeah, guys. I'm the scared one. I'm shaking.
I'm scared. I'm scared too. Wow.
But in reality, this retard is literally can't fucking accept basic facts. Man accepts Big Bang theory, but he doesn't accept vaccines. Says the science is corrupt and
Listen to him.
vaccines.
He's still ranting like a
Theory's clean.
lunatic.
I'm scared
On
too,
Big Bang
guys.
theory, it's clean though.
Thank you, Bubba. Yeah. Hey, we got a team of scared people because we're all scared of Teflon here. Oh my gosh.
Yeah, the man knows when science is corrupt or when it's clean. He knows how to tell the
Well, look,
difference. Man.
why else, when somebody offers a rebuttal to what they're saying, why else would they just interrupt with random noises other than they're scared of the rebuttal? They're trying to overtalk the rebuttal.
Yeah. How
Exactly
could you
what he was doing.
how could you possibly know that? It just sounds like you're presuming that's the case.
That was literally what he was doing to me. He's
Well, why would
literally
you just
doing.
make random noises in the mic then? You tell me.
Okay.
You explain
Wait,
your
hold on.
psychological
I'm
phenomenon.
the one asking you questions. Why are you deflecting? Why are you in turn asking me a question?
All right, we got another troll here.
Yeah.
I'm just saying, if you're going to assert something and you claim to know that it's the case, like, what's the epistemological argument for that?